Hello friends, welcome to the Rambling Catholic. My name is Joseph. We are again working on the Catechism. I think we're gonna speed up now and try and release more videos so you don't forget. At this point we're doing one video per week. Maybe we'll try and see if we can do two per week. Again, we're working on the Catechism of the Catholic Church, the Baltimore Catechism, question and answer format, which makes it much easier for understanding, and then it develops the faith as it goes along. Right. So on the angels and our first parents, the page starts from question number 34 all the way to question number 45. The first question says, which are the chief creatures of God? Which are the chief creatures of God? The answer there is the chief creatures of God are men and angels. Now, there's one thing that is very interesting to when you come to this topic. You will recall there is two parables that Jesus gives. When he was talking about, one was talking about the lost sheep, which many of you having 100 sheep and losing one of them would not leave the 99 in the desert and go after that one which is lost. And then we have a second one which says, which woman having 10 coins and losing one of them will not sweep around looking everywhere, light a lamp to look for the one coin that is lost, and when she finds it, she calls her friends and they party, celebrate with me, I found the coin that I lost. Right? And one of the things that is very important for us to understand our faith is we need to take out the pretending out of trying to understand the faith. Right? And now, let's think about this again. Which man of you, having 99 sheep and losing one of them, would not leave the 99 in the desert? Having 100 sheep, you lose one, you leave the 99. Okay. Is that possible? I mean, logically, is that possible? Who would do that? I mean, if you have 100 sheep, one get lost, you're gonna leave that one and you're gonna go with the 99, right? If you're a farmer, you're gonna go with the 99 and save your investment. Okay? And then you're gonna go and lock those 99, and then you're gonna go after the one that is lost. Okay, that is what a farmer would do. No farmer would actually leave the 99 in the desert. So why was Jesus saying that? Again, imagine you have 10 dirhams. Okay? In those times, 10 shillings or 10 drachma, one of them was like a day's wage. So it was very valuable. Now you have 10 of them. You lose one, and then you abandon everything, you look for one. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because it's very important. But would you then call everybody and celebrate that I found that one coin that I lost, and then you're gonna have a party where you use more of the coins that you still have? Okay. So a number of the things in the Bible, they call us to actually think about what is happening. What is Jesus trying to tell us? Okay, and the people at that time, they would start to say, okay, what is he talking about? I mean, the Bible doesn't go into details of the people's reactions, but imagine yourself being there. What would you have said? Personally, I would have said, okay, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to leave 99 in the desert and go look for one that is lost. However, if we then bring this to the understanding of God, that we know God is justice, God is love, God is mercy, and Jesus leaves heaven to come on earth, leaves the bliss of heaven to come in earth and becomes a human being. So what exactly is happening over here, right? So this, if you look in the church fathers, especially let's say Saint Ambrose, there are others that have spoken about these two parables. Now, 10 10 is a perfect number, right? 100 is multiples of a perfect number, which is 10. And God, when He created the rational beings, rational spiritual beings, He created 10 of them, right? The 9 choirs of angels that were created before. What are angels? Angels are pure spirits, right? That have knowledge and that are rational. And God created man, right? That was body and soul, and again, as we said, the spiritual aspect of us that links us, or that gives us that capacity to understand God. So the 9 choirs of angels plus man, okay, that makes 10 rational beings. Now, what happens in the Garden of Eden? Original sin. And then one was lost. And then from there, it was searching for the one that was lost. So that we would have God would have this perfect 10 again. Now, if you look at coins, one very interesting thing about coins is that they have a mark. A coin would have the head of somebody. We also see from Jesus when they wanted to trap him, and they were asking him that, should we pay taxes to Caesar? And he said, look at a coin, whose face is there, or whose mark is there? It was the mark of Caesar. So coins would have this marking. Right? The marking on this, our spirit, is the marking of God. So that makes that's the part of the 10 shillings. And the one that was lost is because of original sin, and that was completely lost. And with the 9 choirs of angels, a third of the angels fell, but you still have the 9 choirs of angels. In men, completely lost. So now there were 9, right? And the concupiscence that makes us sinful beings, that kills the life of God inside us, separated, put that chasm between God and man. And then you have God from the Garden of Eden, right throughout the Bible, this hunt for man, calling man back, until in the culmination of the coming of the Son of Man, and then the work of redemption that was done on the cross. Right? So these parables are talking, if you're going to be looking at the traditional explanation of this, there are multiple interpretations to parables, but one of them that the church has held for quite some time through our church fathers was the 10. This is the complete creation of the perfect 10 rational beings that God created. And what then happens, what we started seeing as, well, goodness, this is crazy. How can I leave 99 sheep in the desert and go look for one? That shows the love of God, that He actually left the bliss of heaven, right, in search of the one that was lost. And when He found it, celebration in heaven, that man has been reunited with God again. And those things that started to look crazy actually now gives us an understanding of the depths to which God will go to redeem His creation. And so this is relevant when we start talking about the angels and men, because these are rational beings that God created. Now, what are angels? Question 35. Angels are bodiless spirits created to adore and enjoy God in heaven. Who were the first men and women? The first men and women were Adam and Eve. Where was Adam and Eve? They were in the Garden of Eden. Were Adam and Eve innocent and holy when they came from the hand of God? Again, the 10 perfect coins with the image of God, created completely perfect, full of grace, and they could see and talk to God, so they were created perfect. Did Adam and Eve remain faithful to God? This is where we get the story of the serpent. Now, there's been, again, people that tend to take theories, let's say scientific theories, I'm saying theories, not proven facts. Theories, like the theory of evolution, for example, to disprove the creation account that we get from the Bible. Now, once you do that, you've completely destroyed the Bible and the understanding of the Bible. Why? Because now there is no original sin. If you say, for example, Adam and Eve were gorillas that evolved. Now, at which point did original sin happen? See, the Catholic faith is an all or nothing proposition. You cannot sit on the fence and say, okay, I'll take part of evolution and I'll take part of the creation. So no, it doesn't work like that. You do that, you destroy the account of the original sin. Then why did then Jesus come if there was no concupiscence and there was no original sin? So we hold it dearly that it actually happened. God created Adam and Eve. That gives credence to the rest of the Bible and everything that we see, all the accounts that we read about in the Bible. So Adam and Eve did not remain faithful to God, but broke his command by eating the forbidden fruit. What befell Adam and Eve on account of their sin? Adam and Eve, on account of their sin, lost innocence and holiness and were doomed to misery and death. So they were dressed in innocence, they were dressed in the grace of God. So the first thing they realized is that they were naked. How did they know they were naked? How long had they been living like that? And why didn't they think they were naked? Because now they started seeing things differently. Right? They have been stripped of all the link to God, and they've been stripped of their innocence, they've been stripped from the grace that they were dressed with. So now, with the absence of God, they saw their complete nakedness and they went to hide. And then you can read the rest of that in Genesis. And the first thing they did was try and sew miniskirts for themselves. They took fig trees and started sewing these things, and then they put leaves. But God did the first sacrifice the life of an animal so he can dress human beings in proper clothing. Now they didn't have the dressing of grace. Now he had to give them an alternative dressing. Right? This is where the story or the teaching of the modesty in dress comes from. Because of the loss in the innocence and the loss in the dressing of God's grace and the holiness that our first parents had, now we ended up having alternatives. Now those alternatives now have to hide our naked parts. Right? This is why the church talks about no miniskirts, no titles that shape your body, and you don't do this for the benefit of somebody else. Right? Some people will say, why would I dress this like this for men? Why can't they just look aside? Remember, we are in this together, both men and women. We are in this together. Both of us have a responsibility to each other. Right? And your dressing has nothing to do with the man next to you. Although you're going to cause that person to sin, but still you don't dress for the benefit of the man next to you. God looks at you as a complete individual by yourself, as if you're the only human being that was ever made. Right? Your modesty and your dressing and your covering yourself is in response to God who dressed you initially. Not to the guys, not to the ladies, not to anybody who's around, not to look sexy and blah, blah, blah. Actually, if you try and understand the word sexy, what does that mean? You're trying to entice other people to fall. This is not the behavior of somebody who's actually trying to live their faith. Okay. What evil befell us through the disobedience of our first parents? Through the disobedience of our first parents, we all inherited their sin and punishment, and we should have shared in their happiness if they had remained unfaithful. There are a lot of people that will say, for example, I was not there, and this was many, many years ago. I'm not Adam. Why should I have to pay for the sins of Adam? Or I'm not Eve. I wasn't even there. Why am I attached to this? Now, or if, for example, if I was Adam, I would not have listened to Eve, I would have just left here and she would have been the only one to eat the fruit, and the human race would not have come to ruin. Or some would say, if I was Eve, I would have been surprised that a snake is talking, and I would have done 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is me looking at this. It sounds completely sensible, right? That I wouldn't have done that. But look at your own life and see from the beginning, from the morning to evening, how many of the things that God asked you not to do that you have done in that day, either physically doing them or doing them in your mind and your heart, right? We were told, men, that if you look at a woman with lust, you have committed adultery in your heart. So we're told to guard our eyes, we're told to guard what we listen to. But how many of those things have we completely ignored God the whole day today, or maybe some portion of the day? We have an obligation under justice to God to say at least 15 minutes of prayer every day. How many times do we do that? So if you were Adam, man, or if you were Eve at that time, you would also have gotten into the same problem. This is a human condition, and this is the desire for the shiny, the desire for the glorious, the desire for the pleasure, sloth, the desire to eat a lot of food of different types, not just for me to get food, but for all of those things. We have them as human beings. So we cannot turn and say to somebody else that if I was there, I wouldn't have done this, because every one of us completely does exactly, but worse than what Adam did every day of our lives. And how many people wake up every day and say, every one of the things that God said I'm going to do, and I'll do that until the day I die? Right? Of the 10 commandments, how many? How many times do we see people buying and selling on Sundays? Against what Mother Mary said at La Salette, and she said this actually angers God quite a lot. But how many people do their business on Sunday? The fact that the shops are open is not guarantee for you to go and sell. You have a responsibility to actually think about yourself and say, should I be doing this? Right? And how many of the teachings of the church are available right now, free on YouTube? Google it, and everywhere you're gonna find it. But how many times are people actually looking at things like that? So the argument that if I was there, or why should I be suffering the sin of Adam, that is not an argument that we can use, because we have concupiscence which drives us to do things that our bodies like to do, much of the displeasure of our souls and our spirit. And we work mostly to please our bodies. The way I want to look, so people can look at me and say, oh wow, as I pass through, or the way things that I want to be associated with, and they have nothing to do with our faith in most cases. Or in some cases you say, I want to come home when I come from work and be myself, where you're talking about wearing things that are very, very revealing, and people that are close to you will be seeing that. In most cases, it's not in most cases, actually, it's not about even people seeing you. It's about God, who gave you the first sacrifice of an animal to dress you. But you feel suppressed when you come home, and you can't walk around almost naked. There's those desires that we have. So you cannot, none of us can turn around on Adam and say, if I was Adam, I wouldn't have done. Or why am I suffering the sins of Adam? I wasn't even there. Now, every day we do the same things, and even worse. And if you flip the coin, if Adam had not sinned, or if Adam and Eve had not sinned, then we would have shared in their happiness. The world would still be, up to now, a Garden of Eden, a utopia that all of them were enjoying. So if we were going to share in his happiness, we should also share in his struggles. Right? It's only fair. It's like if you go into business with someone, you cannot say, okay, I can only be there when there's profit, and I'm not going to be there when there's a loss. You bear the loss, I'll bear the profit. It doesn't work like that. It's not a good partnership, right? Or if you go and when you're getting married and you're pronouncing your vows and you're going to be saying sickness, but okay, I'm not going to be there for the sickness, right? I'll just be there for the happiness. And for richer, for poorer, okay, poorer and richer, yes. I mean, it's not a marriage, right? It's richer for poorer in sickness and in health. Those are the relationships that we know in business, in life. You have to, when you share in the joy, you should also share in the sorrow. When you share in the profit, you also share in the loss. So, I don't know if I have explained it enough. If not, please, you can put your comments below and ask me to clarify what I'm talking about. So that covers on the angels and our first parents. Please feel free to comment. Please feel free to engage. The idea, as we said when we started, is not to spread a business. We're not looking at making like thousands of subscribers. What we're looking at is getting to reach people, to reach like REACH, reach other people, so that we can share our faith, we can reclaim our heritage, the faith of our fathers. The Catholic Church has been there right from the time of Christ himself, from the apostles. And this is a faith that has been watered by the blood of a lot of martyrs, from the times of Nero, from St. James being beheaded, to all the apostles except John. All the other ones were murdered. St. Peter crucified upside down, even to St. Paul being decapitated, his head bouncing 3 times, to other saints that were cut into 26 pieces, to others that were thrown to lions to be eaten, so we can have this faith. So the little things that we can also do at this point is make sure that we preserve this faith, let's say through sharing it not only with our friends but with our families and with our kids as well. All right, so this is why we're doing this. Please like, share, subscribe. Until we meet again, God love you.